What's going on, guys? What's going on? I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today we've got a really cool topic to discuss. There's a country music singer by the name of Jason Aldean. Jason's being accused of racism, and it's pretty messy, Yoshika, because I see you up in here first. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to actually talk about whether or not his song is racist or not. It's called Try That in a Country Town. And believe it or not, it's much deeper than you might think. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and do me a favor as you guys come in. Let me know if you can hear me. I just want to make sure we got a quick microphone check. Dr. Vibe, what's going on? Shout out the city you're from. Let me know what city you're from. Let's see. I see God Muhammad, James Swims, Tara Allen, Level Scales, and Miss Yoshika. I always see you in there, Miss Yoshika, and I appreciate you 100%. Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a yes if you can hear me. Okay. Let me know if I'm coming through all right. God Muhammad's out of Houston. Tara Allen says yes. Yoshika says yes. Thank you. Let's see here. Young Deity says, thanks for conversing with me in Seattle when you came. Yeah, you know, I enjoyed Seattle so much that I look forward to going back. I had such a great time, and the people there were so awesome. And I was inspired by what you all started in terms of the investment club, and I want to do that in other cities around the country. So if anybody wants me to come in and do a deep dive training, the same thing we did in Seattle, you can actually email manager@boycewatkins.com. If you've got a group and if you pay the deposit and find a venue, then we will market your event on this platform so that you can make it into a profitable venture. So we'll go into business with you. We'd be happy to go into business with you. Also, I want to remind everybody that if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm going to start doing stock options training camps on my Instagram page in order to give us an opportunity to reconnect and rebuild there. As you guys know, our Instagram did get shut down. However, that's all good. We're going to build it up again. And so one incentive to get you there is to first give it to you and then to let you guys know I'm going to do some stock options training camps there. And those who follow me on Instagram, I will get you in either free or at a hugely discounted price for the things that we're doing in the Black Business School. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. So go follow me on Instagram at Dr. Boyce Finance. All right, so let's hop into the conversation. How are you guys doing? Hey, Dr. Watkins, can you bring someone on your research, Cop City in Atlanta, and your thoughts on the plans? I'm going to look into that. And do they have visuals on Spotify? You know what? On my Spotify, which you can find, by the way, by looking at my name, Boyce Watkins, there are no visuals on Spotify. It's just audio. They do have video on Spotify, but honestly, we own so many platforms. I don't want to do another platform. I just don't. And I want to ask y'all a question, though. Give me a yes or no if you've heard of this guy. Has anybody ever heard of this country singer? His name is Jason Aldean. Jason Aldean. And the question for today is whether or not this guy's song was racist. Has anybody heard of Jason Aldean? And let me tell you why Jason Aldean is in the news right now. Jason Aldean is in the news because he made this song called Try That in a Small Town. Did anybody hear about that? Did anybody hear about the controversy behind his song? And kind of what went down? Give me a yes if you heard about it. Give me a no if you haven't, so I can know maybe I'm the last to the story. Maybe I'm the first. I have no idea, but I want to see so I can know how much I have to brief you guys. All right, so Tara says yes. Okay, Level Scale says yes. Decent music. Okay, good. All right, Harold says yes. All right, so let's jump in and let's talk about this. I wanted to talk about this because I thought it was really interesting. And I saw a lot of interesting little sneaky politics kind of happening in terms of how this song was kind of being discussed. I saw Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg got pissed off apparently about the song and said that it was pretty racist. And she went off on the guy on The View and seemed to feel that he's a hillbilly that's racist toward black people, and that he's just not a good person. And I'm not going to say Whoopi doesn't have the right to say that, but at the same time, I think it's worthy of an investigation. I think it's worthy of digging into, because I really think one thing we got to understand as black people is that there are a lot of tricks being played, when it comes to politics. There are puppets and puppet masters. There are hidden agendas. There's all kinds of stuff that's happening, right? For example, my heart goes out to LeBron James' son, Bronny, who just had a heart attack at the age of 18. You guys heard about that, I assume, that Bronny had a heart attack. And I remember asking, I said, how come we can't talk about the elephant in the room? Like, how come we can't, just at least explore whether or not the who caused this issue, right? And it's interesting how they will tell you what conversations you're allowed to have, which ones you're not allowed to have, and they won't even have the conversation. They'll just say, "Oh, that's a conspiracy theory. That's just a conspiracy." Well, if it's a conspiracy theory, then can you prove me wrong? If it's a conspiracy theory, then give me some evidence of that. If not, then I'm gonna believe it more. The more you reject it, right? The more you act like, the more you write it off and don't want to have the conversation. That tells me that's a conversation you don't want to have, if you get what I mean. So anyway, so let's talk about this guy, this singer. I'm gonna read some of this to you in terms of what happened with his song and what the song's about. So the song's called "Try That in a Small Town." And apparently the guy is a conservative. He just happens to be. That's not a crime. A lot of y'all are conservative. A lot of y'all are liberal. I invite both. I think that you can learn from liberals. I think you can learn from conservatives. Give me a yes if it's okay for us to love each other without worrying about who we voted for. Give me a yes if you understand why it's important that we don't let this Democrat-Republican nonsense undermine our unity to one another and to intelligent black people. I think that's really important. So here are the lyrics. I'm gonna read the lyrics to this song, and I'm gonna ask you all to kind of let me know how you identify with these lyrics. Okay, so these lyrics were accused of being racist. Because he's apparently against the whole Black Lives Matter movement. He's against some of the things he saw happen during the pandemic. And he says this in song. So I'm going to read the lyric, and then I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. All right, if you're ready. All right, here we go. Here's the lyrics from this song called "Try That in a Small Town." Sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk. Let's start there. So this is considered racist because he's talking about black people, apparently. At least that's what people are saying. How many of you would ever sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk? Give me a yes or no. How many black people, y'all are intelligent black people, would you sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk? Do you think he's talking about you? Did you sucker punch somebody on your way to this podcast? I don't sucker punch people on the sidewalk. Carjack an old lady at a red light. So again, the song's racist. Apparently, these lyrics are applied to black people. That's what they want you to believe. That's what they're telling you. Would anybody in here? How many of y'all would carjack an old lady at a red light? Anybody in here? Anybody got some old ladies you just mad at and you want to just take them out right quick? Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so wow, no carjackers. Wait, but you're black. You're black. You're not offended by these lyrics? It's so racist. I mean, sucker punching people on the sidewalk, carjacking old ladies at red lights. Ain't that what black people do on the weekends? Let's see. Let's read more of these racist lyrics. Let's read the lyrics. And this is important because you gotta look at the information and the evidence for yourself, not just listen to their interpretation of the narrative, because that is their paternalism. That is them treating you like a child. That is them saying, don't you worry about thinking for yourself. We'll do the thinking for you. Don't worry about looking at what was actually said. We're going to interpret what he said and then give you our interpretation. We're going to give you our spin. Right. And so this is important. This is why I want to go straight to the source. So, okay, sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk, carjack an old lady at a red light. Let me know if any of you would do this. Pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. This is the next verse of this racist song where he apparently is talking terrible about black people. How many of you would pull a gun on an owner of a liquor store? Anybody? Any yeses, nos? Wait, what do y'all, yes or no? What do y'all think? Would you pull out your strap, go up in the liquor store and get heated and go jack that fool for their ends, as they used to say back in the day? All right. So he says then, you think it's cool? Well, act a fool if you like. So it sounds to me in the first verse anyway, the first first four lines of this. I don't know if it's the first verse. I don't know music terminology, but it sounds like he's basically saying if you sucker punch somebody at the sidewalk, carjack an old lady at a red light, pull a gun on a liquor store, then I'm gonna jack your ass up. How many of you think that it's okay? It's appropriate. How many of y'all wish you lived in a neighborhood where people who did those kinds of things got dealt with? How many of y'all would feel better, would feel safer in a neighborhood like that, where good men would step up and say, you know what, if you sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk, carjack an old lady at a red light, or pull a gun out of the owner of a liquor store, we're gonna deal with you. Dude, is that racist at all? Is there anything racist that I have read from this man's song so far? And I'm not sitting here trying to put nobody on no pedestal. I don't even know this Jason Aldean guy. I don't know him. But I'm sitting here, I'm making a point here in the sense of how they try to manipulate the pain of racism to use what is really actually just a liberal agenda. And I'm not saying you can't be liberal. You can be liberal if you want to, but the problem is that they package your blackness in with the liberalism. Has anybody ever heard? Give me a yes if you've ever heard somebody give a speech like this, where they'll say something like we here to represent the black folk, and then you're like, yeah, and then they'll be like, and we representing the gay folk, yeah, and the trans folk, and we need to represent the trans folk and the gay folk and the immigrant folk, right? You know, they'll start using black language and start spreading it out. They kind of package it together, like you're like in boxing, like in a boxing match. The way you get people to buy a pay-per-view for a boxing match is you have the main event, and then you tack on 3 undercards, right? Or 2 or 3 undercards. You know what I'm talking about? Where you'll have a big fight, the Mayweather fight, let's say, that's the big draw. And then you tack on a bunch of little fights that nobody cares about, just so you can add value and get more of your fights out there, right? Right? Well, that's kind of what they do with you and racism, in my opinion. That's what they do to black people. We're the main event. Seriously, we fought the struggle. Our civil rights movement was the main event. That was the epic achievement of a generation that everyone admired and said, okay, we want a piece of that. And so they use racism as the main event, like we got to stop this racism in America, and then they'll attach all these undercards. Do you follow what I'm saying? The undercards will be, oh yeah, let's throw some gayism up in there too. Let's throw some trans stuff up in there too. Right? Let's just talk about, let's throw in all the men that want to be women and all the women that want to be men, and somehow act like that's the same as being black. Right? See, this is the type of stuff that gets me in trouble on. This is probably why I ain't got no Instagram page. People were making fun of me for not having my Instagram page. Well, you know, you're right to make fun of me. I just say shit like this and then I get in trouble, and I can't help it because I got to be honest. They can't stop me from being honest. I'm gonna keep doing it. So I'm gonna stop building on Instagram because I'm gonna lose the page anyway. In fact, I started looking into Telegram and stuff like that. And in fact, actually, by the way, if you want to stay connected with me off of the social media platforms, just text the word stock to 31996. I will personally text you profit alerts. The free gift I will give you is I will tell you stocks that I'm personally buying. I'll send you at least 1 stock a week, maybe 2, and I'll text that right to your phone. I'll also send you our $5 a day investing plan for free. I will send you a training on how to make money without working for free, and I'll send you a bunch of other free stuff. So text the word stock to 31996. That way we can stay connected without having to worry about whether or not Zuckerberg is going to come in and delete my presence on social media. All right. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. If you haven't done that yet, you're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. Also, don't forget this podcast is on Spotify if you ever want to listen on Spotify. So you can look up my name and find it. So I'm reading from Jason Aldean's song, Try That in a Country Town. And I'm looking for the racism. So we read the first 4 lyrics. We found no racism, right? Do we agree on that? Sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk, carjack an old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool, well, act a fool if you like. I think all that's fine. I was absolutely appalled seeing old people and innocent people getting hurt and getting harmed during the pandemic. I did not understand what happened. I was like, aren't there supposed to be police? Is there supposed to be some kind of protection for people? It was kind of crazy. They'd be burning down businesses. It was ridiculous. And then you want me to get outraged about the thing that happened at the Capitol which of course you can be outraged about that. That was highly inappropriate. But to act like that was the only riot that took place that year is absolutely insane to me. Or to suddenly, or to one day you're telling us everybody stay inside because it's a pandemic. You're all gonna die if you go outside. Then the next minute you're encouraging everybody to go outside. And then it's like, no, now that you're outside, go back inside because we need you to take this jab so we can get our money on this jab. And then it's like, oh yeah, well, forget about the pandemic. Vladimir Putin, he's public enemy number one. We need to go support Ukraine. Ukraine is what matters. Ukraine is what's important. I'm like, who the fuck? Wait, y'all wasn't even talking. Ukraine is, where is Ukraine on the map? Why am I cheering for Ukraine? Why am I okay with you writing billion-dollar checks to a country that I don't know anything about? I don't understand that. This is the politics, people. This is the politics of the country you live in. And the reason this is, and some people say, well, you're a finance professor. Why would you talk about the politics? Well, it's because a lot of this is driven by financials. It's all financial. Give me a yes if you understand how much money was made by pharmaceutical companies during the pandemic. Give me a yes if you understand how the pandemic wasn't nothing but a big money grab. All it was a money grab. Let me see. How much money did Big Pharma make from COVID? Let's see. Pfizer alone. Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready? Sit down because you're gonna flip out when you hear this number. This is just a Google search. This is from the Center for Research on Multinational Corporations. Pfizer alone, one company, not the other 800 of them, one company, Pfizer, made $35 billion in net profits during 2021 and 2022 from COVID. BioNTech and Moderna each made $20 billion, while Sinovac pocketed $15 billion. They ain't even mentioned all the companies yet. I don't think that's not even a tiny fraction. I'm almost at 100 billion and I just got started. Do y'all understand what kind of a money grab this was? Do y'all understand? This don't count all the PPP loans going out to all these businesses that didn't even need the money. And now your country is in a terrible financial situation. It is in a terrible financial situation. You better make sure your kids learn Chinese or Spanish or something because this country is on its way down. This country, long term, in 70 years, America will not be anything like what you're seeing right now. By the year 2100, this country is not going to be anywhere close to being the superpower that it is right now. It won't be. Everything that they're doing is backward. So Big Pharma, according to the Center for Research on Multinational Corporations, they said they raked in $90 billion in profits. So that's not total revenue, though. That's profits. That's profits is money that you make on top of the money that you make. Like that's money that you did not have, right? So it was a money grab, y'all. I mean, that's what it was. So if you ever want to know, like, well, why, Dr. Boyce, you're a finance guy. Why would you be talking about this? This is not financial. It's all about the money, man. All of it's your politics. Let's go back to the politics. The politics is all about the money. I was explaining to a young white girl today, a friend of my daughter's. I said, I don't get offended when people use the N-word. It just doesn't bother me. It's just a word. And she said, you don't get offended? Why not? I said, because I want them to write the damn check. I want the reparations. They owe us economic damages. That's what I want. I don't really care. Rappers call me the N-word all day long. Every day I turn on the radio, I turn on a music video. Somebody's calling me the N-word. Somebody's talking about black people as the N-word. And then when a white person says it, we freak out and act like that's a big deal that they stop doing it. It means nothing. I'm sorry, people. It doesn't mean anything. And so really, I think that when you're talking about racism, you have to talk about the real racism in America. The real racism in America is economic racism. It's not about what people think about you. And it's certainly not tied to liberalism. Let's keep going. Listen to this. So I'm going to keep reading these lyrics. I want you to tell me, is there anything in this lyric about black people? This guy, Jason Aldean, his song, Try That in a Country Town, is accused of being a racist song. So I'm going to read the lyrics and we're going to hunt for the racism. We're going to do a Scooby-Doo episode and some mystery. Let's find the racism. All right. So here, I'm going to read this. Give me a yes or no if you hear any racism. Cuts out a cop, spit in his face. Is there anything racist about that? Are there any people in here? Give me a yes or no. Would any of y'all cuss out a cop and spit in his face if the cop was being respectful to you? Now, disrespectful cops don't count, but let's say you talk about cops that just say, hey, can you pull out your driver's license and or your ID or whatever, right? Would you cuss him out and spit on his face? Stomp on the flag and light it up. Now that's an edgy one, right? Some people, I've seen some good people that have an issue with the American flag. So maybe that's one. You think that there's racism there though? You think that that's just a black thing, or you think that's more like a, liberal thing? Like I'm mad at America, right? He says, yeah, you think you're tough. Well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. So he's basically saying, if you try this in my town, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Around here, we take care of our own. I don't see anything wrong with taking care of your own. I don't know if y'all think only white people do that. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town. He says, I got a gun that my granddad gave me. They say one day they're going to round up. Well, that shit might fly in the city. Good luck. I don't know what one day they're going to round up. I guess round up, get riled up. I don't know what that part means. I don't get that one. Try that in a small town. Okay, let's see here. Full of good old boys raised up to fight. If you're looking for a fight, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Okay, so that's it. That's literally, so most of the heavy stuff, it appears, is in the imagery of the video as well as the first few lyrics, where he talks about sucker punching somebody on the sidewalk, carjacking old lady at a red light, pull a gun out on the owner of a liquor store, cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag, light it up. He's basically saying that he's against those ideas. Now, here's what I want you to understand. I'm not saying that you have to agree with me or anything like that at all. But what I am going to say is that these accusations of racism are a little bit of an insult to black people, because most black people I know would never do any of these things. Most black people I know are not going to carjack an old lady. They're not going to pull a gun on somebody at a liquor store. Most black people I know are good, law-abiding citizens. Most black people I know actually have family values. Most black people I know, they support the idea of a black-owned business and protecting the businesses in your community. And so when I saw the video, somebody says he filmed the video at a lynching spot. Well, unfortunately, if you go anywhere in the South, you can associate lynching with that spot, and that's the other thing that I want to point to in terms of the nuance. What they're basically doing is they're playing a political trick. They literally had to go back 100 years. They said 100 years ago, a black man was lynched at this courthouse. Now, I don't know if this guy knew that the lynching took place there or not. I can really tell you this. If you go anywhere in the South, chances are there are lynchings at almost every spot. I went to the University of Kentucky. That was the site of many, many lynchings, right? But just because somebody shoots their music video at the University of Kentucky, that does not mean that they're endorsing everything that's ever happened at the University of Kentucky. And so when you do these politics by association, that's a political dirty trick. And these tricks are used to manipulate the emotions of black people. Because here's one thing that's true, that some of y'all are not from the South. I don't know how many of y'all are from the South or not. I'm from the South. And I've lived in the most people can't say this. I have lived in the South. I have lived in the North. I've lived in the East. I've lived in the West. The worst racism I ever experienced was when I was in the North. The worst racism I ever experienced was when I went to Syracuse University and dealt with white liberals up close. White liberals can be some of the most racist SOBs that you will ever meet in your life. They're paternalistic. They block people out of opportunities. They ran Syracuse University like a plantation. There were no black people getting promotions. There were no black people getting opportunities there, not at a high level. And there might be a couple, just like it was in University of Kentucky. So effectively, this false idea that somehow every country boy down south wants to kick your ass and shoot you because you're black, that is a myth created by the media. It does not mean that all of them are good people at all. But I can tell you this, when Jussie Smollett, you remember when Jussie Smollett lied and said some Trump supporters ran up and beat him up, and when he was looking for a Subway sandwich at 2 a.m. when it was negative 20 degrees outside, you know what I'm talking about? Think about that Jussie Smollett situation. If Trump supporters were running around the country, or country people were running around just murdering black people left and right, you wouldn't have to make up a story. You wouldn't have to lie. Do you understand? If it were happening so often and rampantly, you wouldn't have to make it up. You wouldn't have to go make up a story. It's like I don't know if I believe if I want to show you that LeBron James can play basketball, I don't have to lie about him playing basketball or come up with AI or fake footage to show you him playing basketball, because there's plenty of examples of that because he plays basketball all the time. So the same thing would be true if these country boys and Trump supporters were going around killing black people. Jussie wouldn't have had to lie. But what happened is, in my view, the reason he lied is because sometimes the lie gets so deep that you have to make up another lie to fit the false reality that you're trying to hold on to. He had to lie because he could not find any actual evidence anywhere, Chicago or anywhere, that some Trump supporters were going to recognize him and decide to beat him up because he's black. Because so effectively what I'm saying is they use racism to support liberalism. Racism is the main event. All these liberal ideas, gay, trans, all that stuff, that's all the undercard. They attach that to your blackness so they can get their liberal agenda through. That's what they do. And I'm gonna tell you this, I don't like it. I really don't like it. I don't like when they're attaching their ideas to who we are and assuming that because you're black that you have to go along with whatever they tell you to say or whatever they tell you to believe. When I see this guy, when I read this song by this guy, you know what I saw? I saw a guy who just doesn't like liberal ideologies. I see a guy who believes in family. The other thing too is when you're talking about Black Lives Matter, y'all know as well as I do, Black Lives Matter, the organization was on some BS. It was funded. I mean, they straight up told you on their website what their agenda was. And on their website, they didn't mention hardly anything about black families and black fathers. Everything was gay this, trans that, feminine this, feminine that. That's what that was. They were three Marxists. Understand there's a reason why the founders of Black Lives Matter were trained Marxists, because they were liberals. They just were liberals that happened to be black. They use race to support their agenda. And then when your black ass falls for it and starts giving all of your political leverage over to them, they use it. And next thing you know, white women are the greatest beneficiaries of affirmative action in the entire country. You ain't got no allies, black people. You ain't got no allies, black people. So what I'm saying to you is that you have to understand that these fights, some people can understand what's going on, some people can't. And I can tell you, it's very frustrating to me because I see us being sort of sucked in by the okie doke. I just see us being manipulated left and right. I see people using us, and I don't like it. I just don't like it. Anyway, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. And I am here in a hotel room right now. And so I thought I would kind of come and hang out with you guys a little bit tonight. If you could, please hit that thumbs up button. Also, make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when we go live. I know my channel shadow banned. Because I say whatever I need to say. And I know that doesn't always fly in a country where freedom of speech is a thing of the past. So if you hit the notification bell, then you'll be notified when I go live. Also, if you want autographed copies of any of my books, one of my books, my latest book, it's an Amazon bestseller. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. I also have a series called Black American Money, Financial Lovemaking, the new Black Power 1 and 2. So long series of books you can find on Amazon, or you can go to drboycebooks.com. You can even get autographed copies. My kids will ship the books from our house to your house. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com if you'd like to take a look. All right, so I'm going to answer some of your questions, and I'll even answer the smart aleck questions because I like the smart alecks. I appreciate the fact that y'all take the time to come to the channel because I like to hear people that disagree with me too. I'm totally okay with that. Just try to be respectful with your comment and try to make it make some sense. Don't if you're going to say something stupid, then that's kind of a waste of everybody's time. All right, so let's see here. Let's see. Best weight loss says, Boyce, my honesty is too much for you. Well, the question is my honesty too much for you? Let's see here. Idris Singleton says the liberals' agenda uses blacks to accomplish their goals. We must wake up, brothers and sisters. Yeah, I don't think black people have to be liberals or conservative. I think that you should just be black. And being black, here's the problem, right? If I say that being black means being conservative, the problem with that is that a lot of conservatives, especially a lot of Republicans, they don't support reparations. This is going to be an epic battle for you because if you're into the Democrat Republican nonsense and you support, how many of y'all support reparations? How many of y'all believe Black people deserve financial compensation for all that we've gone through for the last 400 years? How many of y'all believe reparations are deserved in this country? Give me a yes in the chat. If you support reparations, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be very disappointed because your Republican buddies are not going to support it, and your Democratic buddies aren't going to support it. Nobody supports reparations. And so you're kind of screwed. You're kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place. So I think you got to be ready to fight everybody. I mean, seriously, my vote is for sale right now. It is for sale. You ain't got to give me no money directly. I'm not talking about, like you got to pay me off or bribe me. I'm talking about if you can't write the damn check, then you won't get my vote until you write the check. And that goes for Democrats or Republicans. People don't like it. Well, then that's their problem. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm looking for more of your questions. Okay, somebody says we must stop getting emotional when these evil people are up to their liberal BS. I do agree. Let's see. Love Move says most small towns are broke, dusty, and backwards. What is he saying? They'll kill you in a small town. Oh, please. Well, it depends on the small town you're talking about, because I know some country boys that will pull out their guns. I'm talking about Black people too. There's a lot. Y'all act like Black people don't have farms and horses and guns and all that. Killer Mike, my buddy in Atlanta, he talks consistently about Black people owning guns. My buddy Maj Toure out of Philadelphia runs Black Guns Matter. He gets a lot of grief because he runs with Democrats and he runs with the liberals and the conservatives. But I respect Maj. And another guy, that has the school, King Randall. King Randall, these fools broke into his school and vandalized his school. You know what King Randall did? King Randall held them sons of bitches at gunpoint. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Look it up. He held their asses at gunpoint, and they didn't move. And I said, good for you. Good for you, young brother. Protect your property from these assholes. I don't see nothing wrong with what he did. There's nothing wrong with what he did. So that might affect people's liberal sensitivities, but he stopped their ass now, didn't he? They ain't coming back. Anyway, let me keep going. Let's see. What do you think about Black-owned AI automation agency? I'm starting one. If you know what you're doing and you know where your customers are, I think it's a great idea. I wish you the best of luck with that, Diamond. Next question. I don't think it wasn't racist. It was the fact that if you're doing reckless things in this town, they're going to take charge. Where are people doing that at? Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with what he said. And I think that people that identify Blackness to mean that you're supposed to be vulnerable and weak and unaccountable, though that's horrific racism right there. That's incredibly racist. Let's see here. Next question. Let me see what other questions you guys have. Yes, sisters date thugs with guns and ignore nerds all the time. Yeah, I got dumped one time by a girl who started dating. I was in college. She started dating a guy who killed people for a living, and he ended up going to prison for a long time. So you ain't lying. You got some women out here that think like that. So don't go chasing those little girls. You got to chase the real women. So the real women don't do that, but the little girls do. Let's see. Idris Singleton says, I support reparations over giving money to Ukraine. I agree 100%. And for our people who had their land, family and land stolen, I agree with you 100%. Protect people and their property with guns in all size towns. Well, ain't no wrong protecting your property. Let's see here. Somebody said, I agree. Just wondering what Dr. B thought. I'm sorry, Miss DFit. I missed your question. So my apologies for that. All right. So Idris says it was actually a really good song. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of people standing up for what they believe in. That's where my bias kicks in. I think we got too many squirrely, bend back, broke back, weak ass people in this society. I just do. I mean, and it ain't even a Black thing or a white thing. It's like you got so many people that, somebody said my sound cut out. Did my sound cut out? Can y'all hear me? Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Can y'all hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Okay. Husman says my sound cut out. I hope they didn't cut my sound out. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay. Give me a yes if you can hear me, because I'm kind of worried right now. All right. So, and I'll wait for that. I'll keep talking while we do it. But in general, I feel you can hear me. Okay. Thanks, Mark the Great. Mark, my man. How you doing? I used to play Call of Duty with Mark. I'm trying to get back in there at some point, man. Mark is a good brother. He's a veteran. Shout out to all the veterans that are in here, I do believe that. Like, I think what I like about the song is I just respect anybody who stands up for something, man. I respect people who stand up for things and people who build things. If you're building and creating things and and pushing hard to achieve something and that's going to be productive and make things better for the next generation, then you're my type of guy. You're my type of woman. Like I respect that. These people that just either don't do nothing, or they bend over and fold whenever the crowd goes against them, or they're trying to just destroy things and not build anything. I don't know what to do with people like that. I think that's the culture that they try to push onto Black people. They try to push you into this culture of like this anarchist almost like culture where all you do is sit around and bitch and complain. No solutions, no nothing. So when somebody comes along with a solution, people like that get mad and upset. Like the Negro naysayer. The Negro naysayer always finds a problem for every solution. You come along and say, well, if Black people invest, we could actually have some wealth. Black people can't invest. Black people can't have no wealth. Black people ain't got no money. Black people need the government. Black people can't survive without the government. How are you going to do anything without the government? It's just like people with that mindset, you almost feel sorry for them. But I really think that to me is when I study the history of liberalism and conservatism, and you go far left and you go into Marxism and communism and even anarchist, in the Antifa crowd. That's what it is. It's about destruction. It's destroying things. It's like we hate everything and everyone and everybody, and it becomes a type of fascism, especially when they get to the point where they start telling people that they can't talk if they disagree with them. That's like a type of elitism. And this happened during the pandemic where they got to the point where they said, we're so sure that we're right that anybody who disagrees with us, we won't even debate them. We'll just label them as spreading misinformation. I really hope that most of you can understand how dangerous that type of thinking can be, what that does to a society, and it actually pushed me further to the right because I have friends on the left and friends on the right, and my friends on the right, they weren't telling anybody they couldn't talk. They weren't supporting the idea of getting people's channels banned and getting them deleted off of YouTube and Instagram and all that. They weren't supporting any of that. It was my liberal friends who were like, well, if you're spreading hate speech and you don't deserve to talk. Well, guess what the hate speech was that got me banned from Instagram? Y'all want to know what hate speech got my Instagram page took down? I was reading one of Dr. Claude Anderson's books, and I was reading something that was well documented about how they deliberately increased the numbers of illegal immigrants into the country just so they could dilute the Black vote. I read that. And then I read another part where he said that white women are the primary beneficiaries of affirmative action. They defined that as hate speech. That was technically hate speech. And so effectively, now I'm still on Instagram. Again, it's Dr. Boyce Finance. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you're welcome to do that. And I'm going to start doing some stock market trainings on my Instagram page to give you guys an incentive to come hang out with me on the gram. I promise I'll try to keep it as financial as possible, but I like to spin into these other topics because, again, I reiterate to you that these are financial topics. These are not just political topics, because all this links back to the money. It all comes back to the money. It all comes back to a consistent competition for scarce resources that exists between Black people and the rest of the world. It all comes back to how others are able to come into your community and take your resources, and then you have no resources and you don't know where they all went. It all comes back to keeping you from having the opportunity to have the kind of community that you deserve because you're caught up in this matrix that they build for you at birth. I told a guy, I was in a Uber today with a brother from Pakistan, and he married a Black woman. He married an African-American woman. And we were talking honestly about race. And one thing I told him was I said, man, brother, you have the right idea. He said he had 8 kids. And he said, I educate my own kids. And he said, because his school system cannot educate children. It's educating them horribly. And I said, you have the right idea. I said, if I was to start all over again and I was to, be 22 years old, I would meet a nice Black woman, hopefully my wife or whatever. And I would have 6 kids. I said I wouldn't have 8, but I'd have 6 kids. And I would homeschool them myself. And I would teach them how to have their own business. And we would all run a family business together so that everything that they need from work, from play, money, food, all that, education would come from the family. The strong families are the only way out of this matrix. And that's one of the reasons why they do so much work to dismantle the Black family. They want to keep the Black man and the Black woman away from each other. They are succeeding. They have poisoned your music. They have put it into your hip hop. They'll put it into your hip hop music that women ain't shit and that men should want to be players for life. The women hate the men. The women want to run around shaking ass and acting like Janelle Monáe. Janelle Monáe is a talented lady. Why you got to go pull a titty out of Essence? What the hell does pulling your titties out have to do with you being a great singer? Like, I don't understand that. I thought you were trying to have class and you're trying to get in the race to the bottom. Like, I don't understand that, and I think that, the men who feel that the culture's been degraded or that women have deliberately degraded themselves, you're right about that. But I also think that the men have been degraded too. I think they want to turn the men into women and they want to turn the women into men, and they want to make the women undesirable by making them, like these used up garden tools. And then they want to make the men undesirable by making them either unwilling to commit to anything or take any responsibility, or making them so ignorant and weak and pathetic that no woman in her right mind would even be attracted to that. They take the worst of the men and they elevate them. They take some of these rapper dudes, got, some guy that's got 85 STDs, 47 babies mamas, a second grade reading level, a really extensive criminal record, that throws all his money away and ruins his life. And then they'll say, this is your leader. This is your hero. These are the people that you look up to. So next thing you know, millions of young Black children are imitating that man. And that's why you look out in the community and you ain't got no men out here. I'm not saying that there's none. A lot of y'all are holding out, and I appreciate y'all. I respect you. I see you. So I don't want to sit here and act like it's everybody. I'm not saying it's everybody. I am saying, though, that it is a more than tiny percentage of the population, and that is deliberate targeting of Black people. So if you ask me what my mandate would be if I could do this tomorrow, I really wish I could have convinced Kanye West to write me a $50 million check. I wouldn't even want any of the money. I told Kanye, I said, I don't want none of your money, man. I know how to make money. I don't need your money, but I would like to use this for the community. If I could have got him, he wrote a $50 million check for that stupid choir that he had that went around the world. Remember that choir that he had that just got on my nerves? If he'd wrote that $50 million check, I would have took that money and I would have built Powernomics training camps all across this country. And that's what I told him. I said, if you'd give me even a fraction of what you've wasted, I could change the whole Black community with that. And we couldn't see eye to eye on that. And that makes me very sad. But it is my hope that somebody that does have the resources to do this will take it upon themselves and get that done, because we have to take control of our kids. We've got to give them an outlet where they can be educated by us, by the best and brightest in our community, by our people. We cannot keep dropping our kids off at these schools, letting these white people destroy their brains. They are literally ruining your kids. They are destroying your whole future. They're killing your legacy. They're murdering your legacy in broad daylight right in front of you. Seriously. And then the media, Lord Jesus, what this media is doing to the image of the Black man and the Black woman in this country is just unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. And if I got to be one of the last holdouts, one of the last people out here saying this, then so be it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how many people get it. I don't know if I sound mean when I say it. I don't know if that makes me the uncool kid on the block, but I'm going to always say things the way I see them. And what I see is that you can compete with these white folks. You can compete with the white people. You can compete with Asians. You can compete with Jews. You can compete with anybody if you want to. If you commit your mind to it, you can compete with anybody in the world. But if they pushing this, uneducated, booty shaking thug culture onto you, where you literally are doing things to deliberately destroy your life at an early age, then you'll never be able to compete. Because drug addicts can't compete with people that are alert. Uneducated people that have no skill can't compete with people that are training hard every day. People with no plan can't compete with people that have very precise plans. People with self-esteem and pride have an easy time dominating people who have no self-esteem and no pride. People who are begging are not in the same competition with the people who actually hold power. And so what I would say to intelligent Black people is you got to walk away from a lot of this culture. And walking away from this culture, in my view, means using your own mind when it comes to education, for example. Again, I'm going to give you a blueprint. This is just Dr. Boyce, Uncle Boyce talking. I don't know all the answers. I'm not, I can't give you a perfect answer on anything because I'm not a perfect man. but I can give you the best answer I can give you. And my answer has come from significant amounts of thought. If I'm raising kids, number one thing I do is I make sure they know everything there is to know about making money and building wealth. They know real estate, they know stocks, they start a business, learn how to start a business by the age of 12. Also, I'm investing in stock for them when they're born, before they're born, if I can. I talked to a 19-year-old last week, and I said, if you're ever going to have kids, start investing for your kids now. Start now at 19. He said, but I don't have any kids yet. I said, but you're going to have kids one day, right? He said, yeah. I said, so in 10 years, maybe when you have your first child, you'll have 10 years to have built some wealth for that child. And then another 20 years before they come into financial consciousness and they have to enter into the competition. So you're like entering into a 100-meter dash with a running start. If anybody's ever run track before, think about how much faster you are when you have a running start versus when you have to start after everybody else starts and you don't get a running start at all. You have to start in place. You understand? So if I'm raising kids, that's what I do. I make sure they know everything about business. I make sure they know everything about Black history. I make sure they understand everything about Black pride, who they are and who they're supposed to be in this world. I talk to them, I train them on family, why family matters, how to pick the right family, how to pick the right women, how to go about making good choices when it comes to who you date, not dating the thugs and whatever it is, right? When you meet the right person, how to treat the right person, right? Put them in scenarios where they can learn these things. How to raise kids. I think that's important. Health. I think health is really important. A lot of Black people are getting cancer. Anybody notice that? Anybody notice how many people are catching cancer now? Does anybody have any relatives that are getting cancer or dying of cancer? Has anybody noticed how the cancer rates have skyrocketed? If you've noticed this, this is capitalism. This is capitalism. Do you know how much food they sell you in the United States that is literally banned in other countries? Do you know that? They have so much food on the shelves at your grocery stores and in these restaurants that are coming into Black communities and selling like crazy. They have so much food. It's crazy how much food they have. And I'm sorry, Mark the Great, you lost your mom to cancer, man. That hurts my heart, brother. I'm so sorry for that. They have so many foods that you can't eat in other countries. They're banned in other countries. Well, why do you think that they would sell you poison food if it's banned in other countries and it's not healthy? Well, because the capitalists have bought out your government, and the capitalists aren't worried about your long-term health. They want to just sell you whatever they can sell you that you'll buy that tastes good, that will make them money. Okay, so that's why, for example, you spend all this money on food, but your food is horribly unhealthy. All this money gets made in the field of education, but your educational system sucks. You spend all this money on healthcare, but your healthcare system is not among the best in the world. I could keep going. Your universities, a lot of y'all are in student loan debt for life. You become sharecroppers because you have to go to work to pay off the debt that will never be repaid. And it's not as if you got some superior education that really taught you any important skills that are actually helping you to succeed. So here's the deal. Systems run America. And the biggest system in America is a system called capitalism. And the best way for you to be successful in that system is to get out of the damn system. Capitalism isn't just racist. Yeah, it's racist, it's sexist, it's all these isms and whatever. It's got all of that. But most importantly, capitalism would just oppress anybody who doesn't have power. That's the fundamental dividing line. If you don't have power, then you can kiss your ass goodbye in a capitalist system. So you have to get away from the system, get your kids away from the system, or prepare them so that when they enter the system, they can enter it from a position of power as opposed to a position of the oppressed. Integration ain't nothing but an oppression factory. Integration and all this assimilation that they teach us, all that is a recipe for entering into an abusive relationship. It's not built on power. It's not going to prepare you to be successful. It's not going to put you in a position to actually control anything. You want to think about that. Start your analysis from the top. Play the game in a way that's going to give you the power that you deserve. All right. So anyway, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I want to remind everybody the All Black National Convention is happening October 20th through the 22nd in Atlanta. If you'd like to join us, just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. The website is right there. Also, if you want to be a vendor or if you have a Black business and you want us to promote you on this platform, you can be a sponsor and we'll promote you. That's the benefit of being a sponsor. And we'll tell everybody who you are and all that stuff, and they'll support you. Just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. And we're making Black history because this is the leading gathering of Black experts. There's never been a time in history that I know of where you've had this many Black experts together solving problems specifically for Black people in a way that was not funded by anybody else. This was not like the NAACP convention. The NAACP, y'all know, it wasn't really, Black people didn't really create that, right? That was created on our behalf by other people. So it's like kind of like a babysitting kind of thing. This has never happened at the Congressional Black Caucus convention because they have too many corporate sponsors, too much influence from these political parties, right? So we actually are partnering with the Black Doctoral Network. Their president, Dr. Maurice Green, is a friend of mine. He understands where we're coming from. He's 100% B1, and he's bringing the largest organization of Black PhDs in the same building as we're having the All Black National Convention. So you literally have a think tank on the spot, and it's also just fun. It's a great way to connect. So if you're looking just for the right kind of people that you can build with, people that you can go to war with, people that you can fall in love with, the All Black National Convention is the place to be. I'm telling you. So feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com if you want to learn more. All right. So let me read some of your questions. Have you read Nomad Capitalist? No, I have not. I'm going to Google it and look it up. Let's see. Dr. King said, I led my people into a burning building. He's right. There's nothing about integration that excites me. Nothing. There's nothing magical. White people are not magical, and I know that we were led to believe that, but I just don't feel that way. And I think that integration was a sucker move, not because integration is a bad thing, but because it was a bad partnership. It's like business. A business deal is not a bad thing. Business deals can be a wonderful thing. But if you make a bad business deal, that can be a very bad thing for you. Let's see here. Many countries have outlawed bioengineered foods. Yeah, it's kind of a mess. Like the crap that they have us eating, it's just nuts. And and health really is wealth. Health is more important than wealth. If you ask any billionaire on his deathbed, which would you rather have, your money or your health? You know what the answer to that's going to be. Let's see. I will check out, Doc. Have a wonderful night. You too, Miss DFit. God bless you. Let's see. Next question. There are many homeless geniuses. Yes, there are. Absolutely. My son just came into a decent settlement and looking for ways to invest. Suggestions? Yeah. One way to invest, I say keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Like, don't go invest in your cousin Willie's liquor store or something like that. Like, just, diversify. Earlier today, I did a video about the stocks they're calling the Magnificent Seven that have just been absolutely killing it financially. And it's not like this was some sort of surprise or mystery. These stocks were expected to kill it, and they're killing it. And these are stocks like Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, Google, Meta, etc. I think they're going to keep on killing it. And I think a diversified portfolio amongst those stocks can go a long way. Also, if you text the word stock to 31996, I'll send you Dr. Boyce profit alert. So I'll send you stocks that I'm buying every single week. Also, I'll send you something that is a game changer called the $5 a day investing plan. And that's literally how $5 a day, just literally less than a Popeye's value meal, can take any family from poverty to wealth in less than a generation. Not even 30 years, not even 25 years. I'm on the replay, Dr. Boyce, but you're 100% on point. Thank you, Mrs. Coco B. I love you too. Have you ever worked with Dr. Dennis Kimbrough? Asked Brittany. Yes, I met him one time, and that is a great guy. I like Dr. Kimbrough. His energy is positive, and he's very supportive and kind and helpful. I really like him a lot. And so if you see him, tell him I said hello, and tell him I appreciate him very much. Let's see here. Faith says there should be modern movies made to show us how to get out of this situation. All the movies coming out, but no one is making them that will be beneficial. Great point. I'm glad you brought that up. We actually made a movie called B1 the Movie, and this movie is going to be released on Marcus Garvey's birthday. It's directed by Rick Mathis, and it stars all these amazing people from your community. I'm talking about Riza Islam, brother Nuri Muhammad, Queen Afua, Vicky Dillard, let's see here, Julian Gordon, who's the only Black person I know who's actually helped Black people acquire $250 million in real estate. No celebrity has ever done that. No NBA star has ever done that. Nobody's ever helped Black people acquire that much wealth, because most of our celebrities think of only of themselves for the most part. They'll do a little bit of charity, but nothing really significant. Julian's helped Black people acquire $250 million in real estate. What's the number again? It's 31996. Somebody type that in the chat for Kenidra. It's so if you text the word stock to 31996, I'll send you the profit alerts. So yeah, so with B1 the movie, I don't know if Rick set the website up yet. B1themovie.com. I think he might have set the website up. Yeah, if you look up, well, wait, no, I'm looking here. Here we go. Yeah, look up b1themovie.com. He's got some stuff up there. I think he's got the soundtrack up there. Now, to see the film, there is an email list where you can be emailed when the movie's ready. But we're going to show it in Atlanta at the New Black Wall Street. So I'm going to get those details once I get back. I'm going on a long trip out of the country. So once I get back into the country, I'm going to go straight to Atlanta for the release of that movie. All right, let's see here. More questions. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Faith. Let's see. Oh, Los Angeles, B1 Los Angeles, says Jerry. Yeah, Jerry, I'm coming back to LA soon. I've been trying my best to get back out there because I mentioned to you all that I'm going to start going to LA regularly. I like LA because I like talking to the actors and the actresses out there. I think LA and Atlanta have some of the most talented Black people on the planet. And I think right now during the Hollywood writer's strike, it's really time for the actors and actresses to, get off the Hollywood nipple and start, finding other ways to monetize that extraordinary talent that you have. There is so much talent. Think about this. You got people that have this incredible skill of acting. They can memorize these big, long scripts. They work 12, 14-hour days. They stay in great shape. They're beautiful people. A lot of them very attractive people. You could be doing a lot of things, not just sitting around waiting for Universal Studios to call you back. Screw those people. Go learn how to start a business. Get together and really learn how to create businesses. And then you can still be an actor. You can still make movies, but you can have more latitude, more control over what you're doing. Every single actor, actress, writer, producer, director that wants to get ahead, in my opinion, should go study Tyler Perry. Start with Tyler Perry. Just go study Tyler Perry. If you study Tyler, I'm talking as a guy who would never put on a dress. That whole Medea dress thing, I'm not with that. But man, you talk about a brother who figured it out. His marketing is amazing. He figured out who his target audience was. He figured out how to monetize his content. And now he's got that mansion and airstrip on his property. Shout out to Tyler Perry for that. Even though I hate the Medea dress, I just do. I ain't gonna lie. I don't like it at all. It gets my nerves. But you got to give credit where it's due, right? All right. So, let's see. Tubi is taking over. Yeah, I heard Tubi really. I gotta watch some Tubi movies. I heard they're pretty ghetto, but I can't wait to see them. Let's see. Boyce, if I get power, family ain't gonna like. Wait, if I get power, family ain't gonna like it. Your thoughts, Boyce? Oh, yeah. Well, if you get power, you're gonna have enemies. You're just gonna, and it's not really enemies. It's really just competition, right? It's not really people hate you. They just kind of want what you have, and that's just the way it is. I mean, if you never want to have anybody come after you, it's easy. Then just fail at everything and have nothing of value in your life. Like if you don't want other men hitting on your girlfriend, then just go date the ugliest woman you could possibly find, and then no one will hit on her. Everyone will feel sorry for you because your wife is 700 pounds and has boogers coming out of her nose. I think that this, especially when you talk about men, but women have their jealousies too. It's just life. It's what it is. People just, they want to get put on. They want to have success, so they try to run up to the biggest person on the block and punch him in the face and see if they can survive, and whatever. And I see it, and it's fine. And I kind of enjoy it, actually. I like to be challenged, so I think it's a lot of fun, actually. I really enjoy it. I'm actually, people think they're being petty with me. They don't understand. I'm super petty. I started my whole career as a provocateur. I know how to do that. So I enjoy that kind of thing. It's kind of fun. All right, let's see here. Jorge says, stop talking down. You mean stop talking with my face down? I don't know what you mean by that. But how can that happen if the information isn't filtered through the ghettos? Each one teach one, right? How can we limit? Yeah, well, you know what? Here's what's funny, right? So I was born in the projects. I was born poorer than probably 95% of y'all in here. And so I've known what it's like to be poor. I know what it's like to, be homeless and struggling and all that. And I made a decision to get away from that. I do not want to live like that forever. And one of the things that I can say is that they have a saying that says it's really hard to argue with a smart person, but it's impossible to win an argument with a stubborn person or somebody who's stuck in their ways. And what I mean by that is, if you don't know, when I say this platform is for intelligent Black people, I'm not saying that you have to be intelligent when you come here. I'm just saying you have to value intelligence. It's like if you are overweight and you go to the gym, they're not going to kick you out of the gym because you're fat. But if you come into the gym as a fat person and you say, I don't want to do this workout, I want everybody to take a break and eat ice cream for the whole time, they're going to put you out of the gym, because the goal of being in the gym is not to be what you used to be. It's not to continue to be obese. You can go be obese somewhere else. If you come to the gym, you should want to lose weight. You should want to get in shape. So my feeling is that you don't have to have any intelligence when you come in here. We got people in here that don't even have GEDs. I don't care how little you know. I can teach anybody. I can teach a 4-year-old. But if you come in here and you're disrupting class, or you are stuck on some other way of thinking that doesn't make sense to anybody that wants to make progress, then I don't know what to do with you. I can't build that bridge. I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to try to persuade you. I'm just going to let you live your life. And, good luck. I hope that works out for you. So that's what I mean by that. So some people think that is talking down. I'm not talking down. It's really more so me saying I think we should have pride in ourselves. And some people ironically get offended by that. And I can't help those people. I don't know you think we should be ashamed of ourselves? It's up to you. Let's see. How do you deal with family you love and aren't bad people, but their negativity is not good for you? Stay away from them. Create distance, create boundaries. Let me just tell you like this. I listened to, just today, I listened to a TED Talk about with a performance coach who trains high performance athletes on the right mindset to be successful and to be a high performer. And because this is the kind of stuff I study. This is why very few things bother me, because I constantly am working on being a stronger, better, more capable human being. I see my therapist so I can get over my issues and be a nicer guy. But I also study performance coaches so I can learn how to be a tougher guy, right? I always want to be tough. I want to be strong. I want to be smart, but I don't want to be an asshole, right? It's a tough balance. It's a real tough balance. But what they said, and I'm going to share this with you, in terms, I'm writing it down because I'm trying to remember what he said, about sort of ways to kind of deal with negativity or to perform despite the distractions, is they talked about the ability to visualize what you're trying to do, right? Which connects to like meditation, right? So that ability to kind of like close your eyes and dream and imagine and sort of really meditate to get yourself in a calm, focused space to block out all the nonsense is really important for you to be able to perform. Also, they talked about breathing exercises, which can help you calm down if you get elevated or if somebody pulls you into some BS and gets you fighting and arguing. You breathe and you calm down, and they say it works for athletes. Like if you're in a big intense situation, you got to take the game-winning shot. You got to calm down and focus, right? Instead of focusing on the crowd and the defense and everything that's going on, you have to focus on your job, right? And same thing as if you're a fireman, you got to go in a burning building and save somebody. You have to be able to breathe and focus. So they talk about imagery, meditation, breathing, and a big one is like self-talk. Like I don't believe anybody who wants to be a high performer should ever feed their soul with negative self-talk. Like you should never say negative things to yourself about yourself, because your subconscious writes everything down. So if you're constantly telling yourself, I can't do it, I suck at this, I'm bad at math, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm dumb, then your subconscious is like, okay, so I'm dumb, I'm ugly, I'm fat, and it's gonna remember that. So you have to give yourself whatever kind of self-talk you've got to give yourself to remind yourself of how great you are. You got to constantly inside your own mind, I believe, in being absolutely fanatically committed to the fact that you are capable of extraordinary performances and extraordinary outcomes in everything that you commit to in your life. And this is the kind of stuff that I study. I'm a student of this stuff, man, because I just believe that these, the internet's a beautiful place because you've got all these experts out here that my wife is one of them. My wife is a therapist. You got all these experts sharing all this powerful information, and people just want to get on Instagram so they can, you know, get on the shade room and look at what rapper got a BBL this week or whatever the hell it is. Like it's like crazy to me. So that's unfortunately not a productive culture. But there's another side of the culture of people that are just using the internet to sharpen your weapon and sharpen your tool. So those are some thoughts. I think in terms of dealing with relatives that are negative, keep your distance. When they start getting all negative, you just block it out. Like, don't listen, walk away, whatever you got to do. Don't try to change people too much because they're going to get mad at you or they'll accuse you of being uppity. I prefer to just be a juggernaut and just go kick ass and take names. And then when they see you succeeding, then they're going to start copying you or they're going to start asking you what you did. That's my goal. My goal was always like, I don't really have to tell you what I'm all about. In fact, a real life example, when I moved into the house with my wife and my kids, those were not my kids. I'm the bonus father and I love being the bonus dad. It's a wonderful opportunity to raise Black children. I'm honored by that. Those kids didn't know, their mother liked me, but they didn't, they just like, who is this dude? And I come in with my pro Black this and my pro financial that. I don't teach them anything. I don't force anything on them. You know what I do? I would go in my office and every day they would see me in there getting grimy with it, yelling and screaming about Black power, Black wealth, Black intelligence, Black success, everything else. And then they would go with me places, right? And they would go places and they would see people coming up and saying, "Hey, Dr. Boyce, I saw your podcast. Hey, Dr. Boyce, can I get your autograph? Hey, Dr. Boyce, can we take a selfie?" And they were just like, "Who is this guy? Like, what the hell?" And I didn't say a word. I would notice they would be like, "Okay, what's going on here?" And lo and behold, and it takes time. I just set an example. Like my goal was just to always set an example, of what I think a man should be. And I noticed like after about 3 or 4 years, they were kind of settled into that example. I would see them doing little things that showed me that they were embracing the culture that I was creating in the house. Because my goal is to bring enough energy. This is spiritual. I would want to bring enough spiritual energy that I'm gonna influence that space, even if I don't say a single word. Because I know who the hell I am. I'm gonna give everything 100%. I'm not gonna stop till my casket drops. And anybody who's not sure of who they are is going to take note of the fact that I'm 100% fucking sure who the fuck I am, and what happens is next thing I know, I see them wearing, shirts like this, like I got a Black gentrification shirt. I'll see one of the girls, like she'll have one of my shirts on or our son, he starts talking about what he wants to do with his career. And it just so happens to be something similar to what I would have told him to do. I just never told him, and I think that's a good way to influence people in general. Don't worry about trying to talk people into nothing they don't want to do. That's what I don't know. I mean, maybe you're more persuasive than I am. I admit I don't have a lot of patience. I have ADHD and stuff. So you come in here with stubborn ignorance. I just get irritated and walk away. I would say just get off your ass and show them. Just go do it. Just go do it and do it so well that they're gonna say, "Damn!" like you want people. You want to be. I think that if you really want to be successful at a high level, and I think that's who a lot of you are, because that's why you're here. You're sitting here with me in the middle of the night while we're all just having this chat. If you want to be successful at a high level, you got to be extreme in some way in your life. It's okay to be an extremist a little bit. I think that's all right. You want people to be like, "Man, wow, okay, you don't stop, do you?" And if you do that, they may not like everything or approve of everything, but they're gonna have some degree of respect for it. Like even if I go through the internet, and people made a lot of videos about me and said things that aren't, true, not true, whatever. I don't watch any of the videos because I don't have time. I don't sit around and watch YouTube videos, but I see the titles and I see what's going on. And every now and then when I do look, I'll notice that even the people who hate me, there's a certain amount of acknowledgement that they give me for the fact that there are some things about what I do that are simply undeniable. Like, you can't deny my commitment to what I do, because I made 22,000 videos doing this stuff. You can't deny that I understand at least a few things about finance. You can't deny that I'm, about this sort of Black stuff. You might disagree with how I go about it. You might disagree with some specifics or facts, but for the most part, it's like, okay, there's that guy, he's there. And that's me being the juggernaut. That's me being the guy that says, and that was a decision I made in college. I was like that in college, man. In college, I said, you may not like me, you may love me, you may hate me, but you sure as fuck gonna remember me, because that's the thing. So I'm telling you, everybody, and it's the last thing I can share with you, and then I'm gonna go to bed. But people can stop you from getting money. People can stop you from having the success or winning the trophy. You're not gonna win every trophy that you try to get, but they can never stop you from doing your best. That's it. They can never stop you from doing your best. Only you can stop you from doing your best. So I would just say to you, whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever dream you have, whatever goal you set for yourself, whatever objective you have, just get up every day and just do your best. And just know that even from where I'm standing, if I'm standing in a place that you admire on any level, just know it ain't never like simple and easy. It ain't never like, oh yeah, this is just a piece of cake. The one thing I can control is how hard I try. And everything else, I gotta let go and let God. I gotta let the universe handle the rest. Okay, so just show up and just be your best, and I guarantee you, people will notice that and they will respect you. They will acknowledge that. All right. So anyway, I gotta go, guys. It was good talking to you. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. And my Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. I'm gonna start doing some financial trainings on there. So if you follow me on Instagram, that's an incentive for you guys to follow me. I am rebuilding there. I had 430,000 on the other Instagram. This was like 40,000 or 38,000 or something. So feel free to follow me there. It's actually better because it's a more intimate conversation, fewer bots, and fewer random people following. There's more intentionality there. So I actually kind of like that. Also, if you'd like to receive Dr. Boyce profit alerts sent to you via text message and the $5 a day investing plan, just text the word stock to 31996. Text stock to 31996. And last but not least, if you'd like some of my books, the 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, or my Black American Money series, I could even autograph it for you. And my kids will ship it to you. My kids work for me. And so they can, and there are kids, they have a biological dad. I'm the bonus dad, but I'm also the boss. And we run our family business just like a lot of you are running your family businesses. So if you like copies of my books, just go to drboycebooks.com and we will ship the books to your house. So have a good night, everybody. God bless you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really had a great time, and I'm going to go to sleep. I'll see you soon.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.